Welcome to American Dreams, Keys to Success, with your host, Alan Olson.
Welcome back. I'm here today with Sherry Higgs. She is the founder of Drivers for Survivors. Sherry, welcome to today's show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sherry, how did you get to where you are today? What's your story?
Well, it's a big one. So I got critically ill in 2010. I was actually diagnosed with a very rare and aggressive breast cancer called inflammatory breast cancer. A lot of people have not heard of it, and that was the beginning of my advocacy work. And I also, as I went through my treatments and a year full of a lot of medical needs, I saw a need in the community, and I felt very strongly about it. So that was when the idea was born to have an organization that helped cancer patients with their transportation and companionship needs.
What did you do prior to that?
Well, I had a strong background in payroll and HR, and I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I got a promotion literally every year. And I ended up, when I got pregnant, I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. And I was entering back into the job market. I'd done some things here and there, but I'd found an opportunity that would have put me really right back in the game. And literally 3 days before my start date, I was diagnosed with the disease.
So this was not expected, and all of a sudden, life changed.
And it was overnight, literally overnight. I was a very healthy woman.
So when you found out about this, you obviously have succeeded.
Yes. Being
here today. So that was basically 3 years ago.
Yes. So I've been in remission 3 years. Wonderful milestone.
And what inspired you to start up this nonprofit after going through and being the survivor that you were? Yeah. Why take on a big project like this? Wouldn't it be easier just to say, I'll go volunteer for somebody else?
You know, I get that a lot, especially folks say to me, how can you be in the cancer world after everything you saw? But, sometimes the cause is bigger than you. And that's really how I feel about this. I feel incredibly passionate about helping other cancer patients. I'm a spiritual person, so I feel a lot of I felt a lot of things through my experience, and I feel that this is just really important, a legacy that I'm compelled to do.
So Drivers for Survivors is about transporting cancer patients to appointments.
That's right. So if you're in treatment, we have very compassionate, trained, qualified drivers that will pick you up at your door and sit with you actually in the waiting room while you're going through shorter treatments. If it's longer, within reason, until you're comfortable, come back and get you or stay with you the whole time. It just really depends. Every situation is different and needs to be assessed and treated gingerly, and we give it pretty much premier, complete evaluation, so that we even go as far as to find out interests and different things that can make people compatible when we match them up. So we have a database that's being built right now that's going to be very layered, that will have a lot of these bells and whistles that will continue to allow us to flourish and to grow.
And all your drivers are volunteers?
All volunteer-driven. And for a matter of fact, everyone involved, about 80% of us are either cancer survivors ourselves or intimately been affected by cancer.
It must be a great reward to be involved in a pure service to a person who has such a great need.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I had a strong network, but there were times, and I had challenges during those couple of times. I'm not shy to admit that. And I know, for a matter of fact, that there are pockets of people that struggle, and you really should not be in that situation when you're, basically trying to save your own life. So, I definitely felt a need. And then when I went out in the community, when I started to do my research, I sat down with probably about 400 people within the community. And this is in a year's time. I was sort of in stealth mode before we went live. And I would just talk to people and ask them advice. And I had my little notebook, and they were giving me names, and I would meet the next person, and it just went on. And everybody had a story. Everybody was sharing with me, my neighbor, my mom, my sister, myself, So it was a very eye-opening and a very validating kind of experience.
After talking to 400 people, it probably gave you perspective, too.
It did. And it's, everyone, no socioeconomic bounds. I was talking to community leaders. I was talking anybody that really cared and wanted to talk to me about this. My door was open. I'd go sit at coffee shops. I had a lot of discussion. At this point, there were articles about the inflammatory breast cancer, so people would recognize me. And that was cool because sometimes they wanted advice. Should I go to the doctor? Yes. I don't ever try to qualify as a doctor, but if I can encourage someone to take care of their health and give them that nudge to go get medical care if they come and ask me questions, I'm more than happy to do that. But 400 people, it's amazing how much territory you can cover when you're passionate.
I'm visiting here today with Sherry Higgs. She's the CEO and the founder of Drivers for Survivors, an organization focused on delivering, taking cancer patients to their appointments. Sherry, we need to take a quick break, and we'll be back, but I'd like to go more into what it took to get this company started.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back after these messages.
With current laws, we have left our children an enormous financial burden. Even though they may be too young to understand it. At GROCO, we care about you and the ones you love, and the quality of your and their lives. Call us today to see how we can help. 877-CPA-2006.
GROCO, helping you along the way.
Apple pie, baseball, and now here's All-American Alan Olson.
Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Sherry Higgs. She's the CEO and the founder of Drivers for Survivors, an organization that focuses on assisting cancer patients, taking them to their appointments.
Correct.
And, Sherry, I'm just going to do a footnote off to the side that my father has cancer right now, bone cancer, in pretty advanced stages. And I appreciate what you're doing because, he's in a position that he has a spouse that's with him. But a lot of people don't. They're by themselves. Mm-hmm. And so I want to talk about going from the idea of doing a nonprofit organization to really what it took. So what's the story?
Well, you definitely have to have a passion for your cause because that's energizing, and you need to have a lot of energy. Having that propels you. And I think networking is hugely important too, to be honest with you. I was willing to talk to anybody and everybody and information gather. I think another thing you need to do is you need to also do your homework in terms of nonprofits. Find out in the state you live in what your legal ramifications are for the different variables that you have to have. For example, insurance, workers' comp insurance, or your filings. You need to have a good lawyer. I was really blessed out of the gate to get some really good people involved. And so that was very helpful to me. And I followed their lead on the legal matters. And the implementation was not easy. It takes some time. But again, I was fortunate that the turnaround time was quicker than I was quoted. So I really feel lucky because I got to basically hit the ground running. And that was an advantage that I personally encountered.
There's two aspects to this. First, there's the government, the regulation.
Yes.
Right. So, nonprofit, you got to register yourself with the state of California.
Yeah. A lot of pre-work.
Okay. Now you get your legal side done. Your
Yes.
federal and state filings. You got a shingle. You're ready to open a bank account. You're ready for business.
Yeah. Now at this point, once you've done the logistics, you really need to get into getting your word out. So one of the things, my strong suit is social media. I'm also a writer, not professionally, but that's really come in handy too. You need to be communicative. You need to be able to express what it is you need, to lay it out there so that people know how to help you. I think that's one thing that really is advantageous, is to be clear about what your mission statement is, be very succinct. Surround yourself with people who care about your cause and who are willing to help build what you're trying to build and believe in your vision, and take good care of yourself because you're running hard. You are doing a lot. And then delegating. And that's something at first as a founder, it's a hard thing to do in the beginning, but I've started to refine that skill. And I have interns, I have volunteers, I've involved pretty much.
How many volunteers do you have today?
Well, not counting the, 50 drivers, active drivers. But
50?
Yes,
Wow.
Yeah, and that's in a very short amount of time because you figure we went formal in December. So we've done over 500 rides already last count. So that's really great. And it will continue to increase. We'll get more drivers. We'll have more opportunities there. Now, we also have volunteers in terms of interns. So we have Cal State East Bay has been kind enough to send us, Dr. Fogarty has been a wonderful help to our organization, sending us different interns to help. She's also a very big supporter of our cause. And, just allowing people to help in different ways. And another thing I do is I give them the option. I don't tell people what to do for me necessarily. I ask them what it is they enjoy doing, what they want to be doing when they get involved in our organization, and I try to give them the tools to succeed, to enjoy their volunteer time.
Coming so far so quickly is amazing, but what's your vision for this organization?
I have big dreams.
Okay, I asked that question too quickly because I have to take a break.
Okay.
But I want to hear about this big dream,
Okay.
about where Drivers for Survivors is going. So I'm visiting here today with Sherry Higgs. She's the CEO and founder of Drivers for Survivors. We need to take a quick break. We'll be right back after these messages.
He's the world's most trustworthy man. Tax filing deadlines are scheduled around his vacation calendar. The IRS agent who audited his client apologized.
I don't always advise people on their taxes, but when I do, I save them every penny legally possible.
GROCO CPAs and Advisors.
Come to GROCO and stay wealthy, my friend.
Apple pie, baseball, and now here's All-American Alan Olson.
Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Sherry Higgs. She is the CEO and founder of Drivers for Survivors, an organization focused on assisting cancer patients driving to their appointments.
That's right.
And currently there's some 50 volunteers since the beginning of this year, and the organization is fast growing. And so we left off at the question of where's this organization going?
I really foresee us going national. That's something that I would really like to have happen. The need is not just in the Tri-City area, although, you really have to go ahead and get your legs before you start expanding. And we want to pace ourselves appropriately, have our numbers steady, and to continue to have all of the people that are involved in this feel that we're ready to also make that next move. But I'm incredibly open for when that opportunity happens. And I really like the idea of taking this model and expanding it, because if we emulate it in different areas, I really feel that we're going to have a very large impact on people's lives. Quality of life will improve.
It's the first time I met you, it was, I was very impressed.
Thank you.
And had the feeling like she's onto something here. But you weren't creating something from a financial standpoint. You were filling a real need in this world.
No, I've been doing this volunteer myself. I will be starting having a paycheck next month, for a matter of fact, for the first time. But up until now, I was doing this completely volunteer. And, keeping up that pace, as you know, is not an easy thing to do. But I have a lot of people involved now, and they help. And even though we're modest in terms of financial gain, if at all, because we're nonprofit, that's okay, because it really isn't about that. I mean, we are out there wanting to make a difference. A lot of these volunteers, believe it or not, they haven't even asked for any kind of reimbursements for mileage yet. They're basically saying, you know what, I want to do this because I want to help.
So these volunteers are also feeling that they're receiving something in the line of service.
That's right.
And what a nice thing. It's, it's kind of like the Good Samaritan.
Yeah, people do care. They really do want to make a difference. And this is a way, it's simple. The concept, it is a simple concept. You're just basically matching people up and you're helping them.
So how does a person get to volunteer?
Well, they would need to contact us. You can go on Drivers for Survivors. There's a volunteer tab, and you can send a little email to us through that and let us know you're interested, and we'll do the rest. We'll call you and we'll contact you.
Anybody can volunteer? Or?
Yeah, you have to have 5 years good driving record, okay? And you will need to go through a background check. That's important. And once you've gone through a couple things, we also offer some training. Then you're ready to rock and roll. If you want to, with the training piece, it doesn't always happen right away. We have right now quarterly training, but we're going to be moving that online. And so what's really, really nice about that is people will be able to train from their homes, and they'll still have an after follow-up meeting to basically talk about any questions they have and to meet their other volunteers so they can, get to know the people who are also sharing in this.
Now, now, the Drivers for Survivors is just residing in the Tri-City areas of Fremont, Newark,
yes.
Union
So
City?
basically, we want to build the equity of the diversity of the demographics. Right now, what's nice is we've got Fremont, a lot of players involved in Fremont. We'd also like to build, I believe we have 2 more spots available on our volunteer board. And I'd like to offer that up to some interested parties that are located in Union City or Newark. It's nice to be able to have everybody that is involved be able to have a voice.
So as you expand, how do you move outside the Tri-City area?
Well, that is going to take some work with the database. That will help, once we get that all up and going and finalized. So it's a progression. It's a natural progression. I've already had people approach me. There's a few people in a few areas who are already saying, if you get an office up here, I'd like to head that office. So that's nice. And there's definitely interest. Even medical providers are like, I can't wait till you expand.
What are some of the obstacles that you overcame in starting your company?
Getting all the insurances going was a big thing. And that took some doing. It did. There's liability issues with this, and you want to be well insured. And we made sure to make that happen. So that was one thing. You need to, again, it's back to networking. You need to be able to have people that you can go to and ask these questions to and be able to get insight, and get some direction where people can say, have you tried to talk to this person, that person? They know a lot about this industry or that industry. And it's a meeting of the minds. I don't believe you can really do this alone. You need help, and that's why I've been such a strong proponent of involving the community. I was once known as a one-woman mission, and although that's very flattering, it's also very flattering to know that the whole community's gotten involved.
So looking back, if you had to do things again, what would you do differently?
I would have done it sooner. I would have done it before I had cancer. I wish that I had made this my goal when I was, my mid-20s.
And in the nonprofit venue, if you had to define success, what would it be?
Saving lives. I mean, indirectly, that's what we're doing. And I'm very proud of that.
It's interesting that every one of us, we're on a linear timeline from birth to death. And sometimes we get so busy in life that we forget that. Mm-hmm. We're focused on our daily task or where we need to get from one point to another. And then we have little incidents happen in life that remind us of mortality.
Yes.
And so I think that what you're doing is a reminder of the need to take a time out from life and make sure we're helping others and make sure that we're building those.
Every day is a gift. It really is. And you do need to do that. Sometimes if I feel the stress, I'll stop. I stop and I go do something that appeals to me where I just can feel myself relax, and I think that's really important to take care of yourself. And, I will feel better at the end of my life knowing that I've made this contribution. It was just important to me to have a legacy. It was incredibly important to me.
How does a person volunteer with
driversforsurvivors.org? So it's drivers, plural, FOR, no E. If you put the E in, you're going to get a golf course, golf-related. FOR, and then survivors, plural. So driversforsurvivors.org. And we have a lot of information. We've got some great people involved in the website. You can look at some clips. We have a few things that we're still adding, but for the most part, it's very rich with information.
Sherry, thank you for joining today's show.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Okay. You're listening to American Dreams with Alan Olson on AM 1220 KDOW.